Hello, welcome to season 2 of the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Oh my goodness, we are in 2026 and I have never been more ready for this year. Oh my gosh, the year of the fire horse. Well, welcome before we get too far ahead. Welcome to the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast, a sacred space created for awesome souls who have spent years caring, giving, leading, and holding it all together, and are now feeling the quiet call to return to themselves. However, that call may be just getting a little louder this year. I'm Justina. I'm a Reiki master teacher, healer, nurse for over 20 years, transformational speaker, retreat leader, workshop leader, and this podcast is an invitation to you to allow your inner soul to slow down, soften, receive, and remember who you are beneath those roles and responsibilities and expectations that you've been carrying, but also to ignite the fire within you, to remind you how awesome you are. I'm so happy you're here. So here we talk about real healing, not the bypassing kind, but the kind that meets you exactly where you are. We explore energy, spirituality, emotional release, nervous system regulation, divine support, and what it truly means to live in alignment with your soul while navigating this crazy real life, right? So you'll hear heartfelt conversations, intuitive teachings, gentle practices, and soul-led interviews. They're all designed to help you clear energetic blocks, reconnect with your inner wisdom, and reclaim your vitality without guilt or burnout. Right? Like we are done. We are done messing around. I am so fired up about this year of 2026 and I cannot wait to hang with you this year. So thank you so much for being here. This is the place where you don't have to have it all figured out, but it is the place where your strength is remembered, your light is reawakened. And if this resonates with you, I would love for you to follow the show. Please leave a review. It helps the message reach so many more individuals that need it at this time. You can also visit my website at angelreikijourney.com, scroll to the bottom, sign up for the newsletter to receive soulful updates, upcoming offers, gentle reminders that you are never alone in this path. Come connect with me on Instagram at Angel Reiki Journey and join the conversation, or you can find me on LinkedIn where I share reflections, teachings, and ways to bring this work into your life and leadership. You weren't ever meant to do this alone. You belong here. And I'm so glad you are here. So take a breath and welcome to the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Disclaimer, you should always check in with your physician, your psychiatrist, your counselor, or anyone else assisting in your care prior to deciding that you would like to take any of the recommendations, the suggestions, and our thoughts on any of the subjects that we discuss in the podcast. Thank you so much. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. I'm your host, Justina, and as always, I am so grateful that you have chosen this time to spend with us. This podcast is a place where women gather to remember who they truly are through authentic conversations, healing stories, spiritual wisdom, and courageous vulnerability, which you will definitely hear today. We create a space where no one has to walk their journey alone. We weren't really created to do this alone. Today, this guest, embodies exactly that mission. Today we have Serena Arora, an Ayurvedic health practitioner, a yoga therapist, a best-selling author, a retreat facilitator, and wellness center and spa director. Serena helps women move beyond simply surviving and into living lives that feel deeply aligned, nourished, and authentic. Drawing from the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda and yoga therapy, Serena guides women back home to themselves, helping them reconnect to their bodies, regulate, and reclaim their inner wisdom. She is also the author of the #1 international best-selling memoir, Unbound, an immigrant daughter's journey of reckoning, unraveling shame, and reclaiming her worth, where she courageously shares her own journey of identity, healing, and self-discovery. We will explore what it really means to come home to yourself, how ancestral wisdom still has so much to teach us, the healing power of Ayurveda, the immigrant daughter's journey, and the concept of immigrate and immigrate, why rest isn't lazy, It's revolutionary, and how healing ourselves creates healing for generations to come. So grab your tea, settle into your favorite cozy space, take a deep breath, and let's welcome Serena. Serena, welcome. Thank you so much for coming today. I have been looking so much to this day, and it's just an absolute honor to have you here today.
Thank you, Justina. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having the conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love to begin where I often begin with my guests. So,
okay.
Who was Serena before becoming the woman sitting here today? I'm thinking like childhood, somewhere between, like 4 to 15. What type of person would you describe yourself as? What was going on?
Wow. Thank you for the question. I'm looking back into my book, which went back 50 years to the moment I was born, and even before that. Between 4 and 15 years old, 4 years old was that pinnacle moment where everything in my world changed. I was a very expressive and creative and observant and free-spirited little girl that really enjoyed life and felt very innocent. And what I look back now and I see what was potentially she needed that she didn't quite get was validation for who she really was, not for who potentially her parents wanted her to be. And that came out while, think about when I was 15 or, in my teen years, it was that discovery of wondering who I was, because I literally got the question as a mixed race daughter of immigrants, what are you? And living in a very, living in quite a white world in the 70s and 80s, growing up here in Western Canada. I got the question often, what are you? What are you? What are you? And so it became the question and the yearning, the search for the answer. And I went on a quest, what I feel was for the next 40 years.
Wow. So where is mom and dad from? And how did they meet?
Great. All written in my book, which I really felt was important to honor my parents' journey. They were born during the Second World War, so they are part of the silent generation. And for me, growing up, there was a huge generational gap, not only generational, but also cultural gap. So my dad is from India. He was born again during the war, but then during partition, so India's independence. And so when he was very young, 12 years old, just, forming your identity really as a young boy or as a young man. And he had to escape from where they were living. And they ended up living as refugees for years in New Delhi. So that's his journey. He became an accountant. He worked really hard. He ended up having tuberculosis in India. He caught it in the refugee camps. So it was, he was sick. He missed a lot of schooling. And so his desire to succeed was strong. And he equated success with hard work. And so because he missed, he's in the hospital for a year fighting tuberculosis, he never quite felt adequate enough for that. So he just kept going and going, hard work, which is a phrase I coined in my book called immigrate, which we'll get to later. My mother's she's Chinese descent, born in Malaysia. And she grew up in Singapore. And she also moved and escaped. Not quite partition, but she did escape foot binding. And so in her Chinese lineage, her grandmother had her feet bound in old traditional ways of what the society thought as beauty was to break and bind a young girl's feet at very young age to the size of the ideal size was 3 inches. And that would make them the most marriageable. They called it lotus feet. And then 4 inches would be acceptable. 5 inches would be sort of the end of the spectrum. So my grandmother ran away and she escaped that fate. And she ran to Malaysia and where my mom was born. And then she and her sisters also escaped that same fate. And yet we have these very unbound feet, of course. And then my mom immigrated. So she went to London, England for school. My dad was there for work. They met, they got married, and they ended up immigrating to Canada. My mom was a teacher. My dad was an accountant. And so my mom had gotten a job here and we were born, my sister and I were born, quite a few years later. They moved to Canada in 1968 and my sister was born in 1972. So yeah, not too many years, but yeah, so they settled, they had the immigrant life, a really strong, what I coined as immigrate. So this grit that had them put one foot in front of the other no matter what. And I inherited that immigrant. And even though I was born in a very Western world, and so not only was there the generational gap between us, there was the cultural gap between us. I didn't really understand where they came from growing up, and they did not understand the world that I was growing up in. And so there was a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of silence in the culture gap because communication wasn't a priority. The priority was put food on the table, put a roof over your head, get us a good education, because to them, that's what equated success.
Wow. Yeah, it's so in reading your book, and to anybody that's listening, this is such a real story. I don't even know a better word than real. You can feel the authenticity and the vulnerability in all of the words that you put into this book. You can really feel the struggles that your parents went through prior to meeting. You can feel the struggles that were then presented to you and imprinted, really. And this story really resonates with me because I've been seeing clients as a nurse and as a Reiki practitioner for 23 years. And there are oftentimes clients that come in, and this, I'm sure, with your healing experience too, that are holding generations of stuff, right? And you don't have to experience something in your physical presence to take on the energy of that, right? And you can take on it biologically, while mom carries you, taking on different energy pieces of that. But there is also this ongoing imprint of all of the ancestral lineage that has taken place. And, going through the energy centers of the body and stuff, often, of course, coming the solar plexus and the sacral region and everything. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, we're feeling this, and I know this is from forever ago, and I know this is not your burden to carry, and you have stepped forward and you have decided that this is not your path and you don't have to continue with this. And I feel like so much of your story unfolds that way too. And one of the things that came up for me was I often have in sessions similar to things that you have experienced, someone's inner child literally like walking up out of their solar plexus, crawling onto my lap, and I am just like holding them and rocking them and really just holding sacred space, because there's this thirst for acceptance and love for just being, not for doing, for just being. Like, just hold me because I'm here. And like, it brings tears to my eyes because I can feel the emotion that is involved with that. And sometimes the person, I've had a couple individuals that have been adopted and they don't know a lot of their ancestral lineage, but I know very clearly the trauma that has taken place in that lineage. And it's very confusing sometimes for people that aren't familiar with Ayurvedic medicine or energy healing to try to reconcile, like, why do I have these feelings and why am I struggling with this? This hasn't happened like in my life. Like things are fine, you know?
Mhm.
So I just know this book will speak to so many people in so many different parts of their cellular body. And I'm just so grateful you wrote it.
Mm. Thank you
Just,
so much for saying that. Yeah.
it's
Thank you. I really didn't, like you said, I had no idea that I was carrying all of this. If I think of myself when I was born, I was not even, I was born C-section. I was in an incubator for a month. That was my lineage. Part of my work was, while I was writing the book, was to realize this is actually the work, that it was generational healing. I had no idea that that's what I was going to be writing about, what I was going to be learning, understanding, and then talking about after the book was written. To me, it was simply my life. I was just writing the pivotal moments that were in my psyche, that were in my being, that were in my mind, my memory, and that my body remembered. And so I had written them all down in different orders. And then I realized all of it was in succession for a reason. Every single and then I realized the through line of my book. And I did not think it was going to be about my maternal lineage. I really my mother asked me not to publish the book until she was passed away. She said, she was worried, oh, don't air our dirty laundry, all of the things that come with this conditioning that
yeah,
she had been
yeah.
taught. And so I knew that I needed to publish this book sooner than later. And I realized that I was going to be the one to break this pattern, that was going to out the conditioning, that was going to give voice to the little girl in the incubator that didn't have a voice and didn't get to speak, and be able to change things for the next generation and even the following. So it was not until I wrote the book that I realized this is about lineage. This is about womb energy. This is about growing in the womb, being born and growing there, and what you're taking, absorbing from your mother's and your maternal lineage. And so I knew, even though I was not as connected to my mother's side, which I thought I wasn't connected, I really leaned towards my father's side, the Indian side, the yoga, the Ayurveda, and I really embraced the cultural heritage more on my Indian side. And that was what I did consciously. But what I realized was subconsciously, I needed to have, I needed to really lean into my mother's lineage and energy and heritage, and really notice what I was carrying, because that I used my father's um, heritage, my father's cultural healing, like Ayurveda and yoga, to heal my maternal side, the wounding that I experienced.
Which is so incredibly beautiful. I hope you guys, when you're listening to this, can feel the energy in this episode. Like it takes my breath away. Periodically, I have to remind myself to take some breaths. It's so powerful and so needed right now. And, you know, you didn't air dirty laundry. You came out with this book and you said, hey, I see you. Best news ever. Hurry up. Write these dates down right away. April 30th, May 1st, and May 2nd of 2027. Come join us in Bend, Oregon. We are having a beautiful retreat. It is called Unbound. Spirit brought this in and has been so persistent about making every single thing happen. The land from Bend literally called me to come. And all of these amazing pieces have magically come together. Wait until I tell you like the entire story, which I will tell you the first night we are there, how every piece, oh my gosh, just synchronistically, the frequency, oh, it's so amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hug all of you. I can't wait for all of you women to be surrounded by all these other women holding all of you in this sacred space and empowering you, like bringing that inner person out of you with no hesitation. We're letting it go. We are laying down all the things that have been put on us, all the things we put on ourselves, all the things that we've talked ourselves out of, in order to stay with the status quo or in order to play small or anything. Like, no, we're done. Spirit is calling each of us to stand in our authentic self, and I am here to help you do that. I cannot wait to see you again. April 30th, May 1st, and May 2nd of 2027 in Bend, Oregon. Go to angelreikijourney.com/unbound Bend retreat, or you can just go to angelreikijourney.com. It'll be very easy to find as well. Sign up. Oh my gosh. Don't delay. I'm so excited to see you. I love you. Okay, now back to the episode. And I think that is so needed. People desperately want to be seen. They want to know that someone understands them, even in their hiding, right? Even in their wearing the mask, even in the story also goes, there's so much in it about you truly have no idea what people are carrying, especially women. How often are they walking around just literally carrying the weight of the world, so to speak, on their shoulders and just following more of it as they continue to push and push and push.
Right.
Especially in, the Asian culture of, like you talk about with the immigrant and the immigrate and like, no, wait, you got to go further. You got to have more education. You got to do it the best way, and you better look good while you're doing it. And nope, everything's fine here. These kinds of things. So
absolutely. Yeah.
it's just
And
beautiful.
Thank you. And with that, I never got to trust my own intuition about what I needed or how I felt. Feelings were never a part of the conversation. So for me, I had to learn as an adult how to hear my feelings. And yoga and Ayurveda have really supported that for me. They were the gateway into that. Otherwise, I would never even have thought to ask myself, what do I feel? How do I feel? It took me a long time to even name a feeling. And then when I would have those feelings when I was younger, like you said, asked me between 4 and 15, I had so many feelings and I could name them and I could express them. And those were shut down. They were judged. They were deemed unimportant. And so I learned to shut it down, to not trust that intuitive notion of this is what I feel and this is the path I want to take because I feel it in my body. And when we don't trust, or we don't have the practice to trust that, we start looking outside of ourselves. It's okay, maybe I doubted myself so often in my 20s and my 30s. I had all these amazing opportunities, and yet I would think twice. Oh, maybe that's not what I should quote unquote be doing, and I should on myself often. And I would hear the voice in my head which sometimes it was my mom's voice, sometimes it was my dad's voice, sometimes it was my own judging. And it's a voice that I coined in the book, my win at all costs voice. It's like, I got to win. And so I had all these voices in my head that I was listening to that wasn't mine. And it took me years to really find my voice, to hear and listen and say, oh, this is actually, trust this. Trust that this is the path for you, that this is your inner wisdom, your inner knowing. And that once I started practicing it more and more, then it became more natural. It became more familiar. But before that, it was very uncomfortable. And I do believe that as humans, we don't like to be uncomfortable. And growing is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. And so for me, the work was, how do I sit in this discomfort and learn from it and be in it and let it shape me?
That is so beautiful. One of the things I probably harp on maybe too much is I think that everybody needs to be an active participant in their own healing. And I've had clients that will come back and be like, okay, well, can I schedule a session, next week? And I'm like, well, we can, but let's talk about it a little bit. And if I get the information that it's mostly so they don't have to be part of their own healing, I will highly discourage them to come. And, by all means, I could just have anybody, just come every day, like pay me to come. But I'm not doing you a service if I'm forever doing it for you, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have to really be able and train yourself to sit in that discomfort, like you just talked about. It's so, I think, and culturally, like in US and the Midwest, like a lot, there's so much that, we want a quick fix. We want, let's take a pill real quick and we'll get better in 5 minutes and blah, 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 blah. Or we'll do it to ourselves and be like, okay, well, I'll just become more busy. I'll just work way more hours. I'll just people please more. I'll find 18 other things to do. I'll take care of your problem, and your problem, so I don't have to take care of mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important that we learn to honor ourselves and our bodies, because every one of us is here for a purpose. Every one of us is a piece of the light, but we have to be able to do some of our healing to be able to shine that light fully.
Absolutely.
It's just,
And I agree. And we all, I believe you cannot rush the divine. So
sure.
and that's part of the reason why I wrote the book, because I wanted people to see that me being here and, having a retreat center and wellness retreat and offering all this wisdom to support and walk you through and living a healthy life and
Mhm.
understanding that didn't just happen overnight. It
Right.
took me a long 50-year journey with many detours and many failures and falling down and picking myself back up, and the hard conversations and a divorce and moving countries and all the things that happened to me, for me.
Yeah.
And in that moment, how I avoided it. I wanted to change it. I ran, and in my
Me too.
own, through my own lineage, I see how I was running away as well. Yes, my grandmother ran away from foot binding. My mother ran away from, the love that she didn't get from her own mother. And then here I am running away from something. And it was me. And it was my own, avoidance
Yes.
that really took time for me to see, to sit with, to hold its hand. And then even, now at 52, I mean, it's never done. The work is really never done. And I'm still really navigating my relationship with my parents now that I'm caregiving for them. They're elderly. My mom is 87. She has Parkinson's and dementia. So that's been really challenging.
Absolutely.
And being able to parent myself before this season of my life has helped me immensely, so that I'm able to support my mom, to love her in a way that she never got from her own mother. And so it has really come full circle for me. And it's, my little girl still comes up and still gets,
Yes.
with your parents. It's a very interesting and complicated dynamic. And so writing the book really supported that growth and that maturity for me.
I love that so
Mm-hmm.
much. And you're so right. I remember 20 years ago thinking, well, I've done a lot of healing, and so I've probably, I'm probably done. Like I'm probably good to go, and boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
it's such an onion, right? Like there's always another layer, but I do feel like the more you go through it, the more you do the healing and all of that, that there comes a certain point where, in my own experience, where it doesn't break me completely now every time I
Hmm.
come across something big, right?
Yeah, that's when you know you're.
And I think that so much of that also has to do with community and surrounding yourself with people that you can be real with. It is so important to have a community that you can rely on and that you can be like, hey, I know that, in this, like with me, energy medicine or Ayurveda or yoga, like I know that I'm always, trying to help people, assist them on their path and everything. But you know what? Today, like, I feel like crap. Like I'm irritated. Like everyone around me is grouchy. Like I don't want to eat the good food. Like, so I think that it's so great. The more real and vulnerable we are, which used to be so incredibly scary. And there's still moments where I can feel myself literally like putting a hand over my mouth, like, no, 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 don't say that. You're going to be naked feeling.
Hmm.
Um, but those are the moments on the other side of that when I would have somebody be that vulnerable and I could witness that and be like, oh my gosh, just like you did with this book, it literally is, I see you.
Mm.
We are all you and me. And
Yeah,
there's so many similarities. All the
absolutely.
human pieces in your book are so great and so magnificent and so raw and so hard and so love it. Like there's so many different pieces, but I think it's really easy for us, with social media and all of those things to be like, well, they're perfect. Like they're making
Hmm.
great money. They look perfect every day. Like
Yeah,
life must be perfect.
right.
Um, they're still human, guys. Like
Yeah.
there's still a lot of stuff going on in there that we don't know about, right? That we're not
Yes.
privy to see at all times.
Yeah. And that, that's what I love about having, like doing the work that I do and having retreats, and communities, building communities. I used to run yoga teacher trainings, and that was being vulnerable and showing, being the vessel for their students to show their own learning and humanness. I mean, we
Yeah.
called it the human journey, and that is the most powerful way to pass on information. And so for me, being vulnerable was, I was used to it. That comes very naturally to me. And yet I was taught not to be, because
Sure.
and then, sir, I sought out vulnerable community. I wanted to have vulnerable conversations with friends. I wanted other women. I really, really searching for feminine or female relationships that I could be vulnerable with, that didn't
Yes.
feel judged, that I didn't feel, criticized for. There was so much, and I had to learn the hard way that isn't always going to happen. And so, even though I was vulnerable to begin with, the response that I got was not quite. It wasn't it was almost a betrayal. And so I spent quite a number of years feeling betrayed by the feminine.
Hmm.
And my work is mostly with the feminine. And so what I realized was I could source out my own feminine energy, I call them feminine waters, this feminine wisdom that we all have. And yet the ones that aren't sharing it, those are the ones that are dehydrated, they're parched, they have dams that have blocked their waters from flowing easily, they're exhausted, they're all the things, and they come to me with these blocks. And so for me, I'm like, how do we all get together in community, unblock our
Yes.
channels, let the feminine waters continue to flow, and then together we are a flowing river. We are the waterfall, much more powerful than individual stagnant ponds in the middle of a desert.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Uh,
Yeah, so I've created this
oh,
community and I call it Living Unbound. And um, being in retreat together, being online together, being in community together. And that to me is the answer, is the antidote to what is happening in our world right now. And as women, we do need to resource our feminine waters to to feed, to nourish the parched male counterpart. The male counterpart is the solar. We are the lunar. And so, as lunar energy, we are the ocean that continues to move, right? We're the moon that continues to pull and push the waters. And so, we can decide where we direct those waters. And if we don't have enough water for ourselves, we need to prioritize that, which for me, it's Ayurvedic self care. It's the yoga therapy. It's using yoga as medicine. It's using food as medicine. It's using lifestyle as medicine. And what can be medicine for one can be poison for another. So we have to be in community to learn that. And then Ayurveda, that we start to understand what is our medicine.
mic drop. Wow. Okay, so there's so much in that.
Mm-hmm.
So it just is so fascinating too. Energy is just beautiful, right? And there is this collective experience that is always happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it with like, as soon as I found out what your book was, so a year ago, Unbound came to me for the name of the retreat in Bend and
Oh,
April 30th.
wonderful.
And I feel like listening to you talk about this community and oh my gosh, and the book itself, like there is just this expansiveness in my heart chakra that is just like just getting bigger and bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. We I think so often women get pinned against each other and out of fear of what someone else thinks and all kinds of different pieces. But when you through feminine friendships, it is so life giving and it
Yes.
has a ripple effect to everyone around you. It's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And when you can come together in community and experience that and know that you are sacredly held, there's literally nothing better. Like it is so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
It is ancestral. It is tribal. It is the village. It is the red tent. It is ceremony. It is all of those things that women in the past have really gathered and come together to support, to celebrate, to unite. And that has been lost. We have really come very, very far away from that. And that's why, for me, being on retreat in Costa Rica is the key to that. The retreat center that we have is we come together in ceremony. There's ceremonial spaces. We have feminine, we have womb healing
Mm,
ceremonies. We have yoni steams. We come together. Energy. We're right by the ocean, so for us, it's the moon energy is so strong, and I think of that often as when we're in the northern hemisphere or even in the southern hemisphere. We're further away from the equator. To
mhm.
me, that power, the moon actually loses a little bit of its power. So
Right.
being near the equator, being in Costa Rica, for me, I really feel that powerful lunar energy. And when you're talking about these women, pitting each against each other, it's because the lunar energy isn't as strong where we are. And then when we start being out of community, when we start getting hyper independent, and of course the sort of the patriarch supports that, right? That our society
Sure.
supports individualism, capitalism, like it
Yes.
really supports thinking nuclear family kind of idea. And when we come back to this earth energy, when we come back to Mother Nature and what she needs to keep resilience and power, she needs all the beings to work in harmony together. We rely on each other. And so that coming away from that, I had coined that femigrate. And we had talked about that. And I don't know if we talked about that, but in the book, I talk about
Mm-hmm.
femigrate. It's
Mm-hmm.
the controlling, the pushing, the forcing, and it's the hyper independence. It's being the smart woman or the good girl or it's turning into this I can do everything and I will versus allowing others to lean on each other and to support one another and to celebrate one another. And that is the foundation of the feminine. And so we've come so far away from that I call that femigrate is like disintegrated feminine energy. And so to integrate back to ourselves, to come back into this state of integration is what I do and I support women doing. And it's really coming back to yourself, to your womb, to your, even if you don't have a womb anymore, if your womb has
Mm-hmm.
been taken out, it's their energy is still there. And so when I work with people and we've done, some women, they haven't had their menstrual cycle in maybe years, some of them,
Mm-hmm.
or they've avoided it or they've suppressed it in some ways.
Sure.
And working with them maybe a week, 2 weeks, their menstrual cycle comes back, their moon cycle comes back. They start to
Wow.
match the circadian rhythms of Mother Nature again. And so it's there for us that our body knows how to heal. We just need to give it a moment and the opportunity to really start to come back
Yeah.
to speaking to ourselves. So listening to our bodies and allowing ourselves to understand what our body is going to say, is saying, and to give it exactly what it needs.
So would you say that sums up a definition of Ayurveda?
Ooh. Yes,
I feel like
I,
there's so many
yeah.
pieces of
I mean,
really tuning in
yeah, the
when I
essence,
think of that.
absolutely. The essence of Ayurveda is to hear what your body has to say, to give it what it needs, and then to allow the body to heal itself, really, because we are the ones standing in the way. Our minds are the ones that are standing in the way of that healing. And uh, we don't really need to heal. We already are this beautiful whole. When you asked me at the very beginning of the call, what were you at 4 years old? It was that we are the Ayurveda. The Ayurveda is the science of life. Everything's working in harmony. There are no layers of suppression, of blocking, of conditioning. It's like when you're young, you are the essence of life. And so that's the true you. And so you are still there. You still exist. The little girl inside of you, the little boy inside of you, you still have that. And so it's just a matter of allowing her or him to emerge and to come back out because he or she did not think it was safe. And so now it's like, how do you create safety in your own skin? How do you feel safe in your own skin? How do you feel safe in your body? How do you create a lifestyle and an environment that helps your body feel safe enough for that little girl, little boy to come out and play again?
Mm. It is the more and more time you spend in community of really surrounded by women that have their heart centered on intention for the greater good of all of us.
Mm.
Gosh, it's the best medicine. And
Mhm.
I do have a question for you. So you work with Ayurveda, you work with yoga. How would you describe yoga as a form of medicine?
Mm. I am a yoga therapist and I've been one
And
for
how's
over
that
20.
different?
Yeah, which
Okay.
is exactly what you're saying is so
Okay.
So yoga, there's postures and there's breath and there's movement and there's all kinds of different kinds of practices through yoga. Therapy takes yoga and takes the person that's in front of you and looks at what your body is lacking, what it's needing, and the practice of yoga, the specific practices, are then used to bring your body back into balance. So it's some breath practices create more heat, for example, create, or some breaths are cooling. Some breaths are, or some movement is recalibrates your nervous system. Some practices increase your energy. Some practices relax you and regulate you. So there's so many ways to use practices to give yourself exactly what you need. So it's not just the poses and the practice in the same order
Sequence
that
of events, right?
right. It's that you're using bits and pieces, parts of the yoga practice to use it to bring yourself back to balance because everyone is different. Everyone comes to the mat at in a different state, in a different state of health, in a different state of mind. And of course, we come to the mat differently every single time, every single day.
Right,
And
sure.
so it will be a different medicine. It must be the yoga therapy is that it's a different practice for you that day. And so that's when you start asking yourself, what does my body need right now? What is my body asking for in this moment? Mm-hmm.
And then honoring
Right,
what
exactly.
your body is asking.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what I love about that, especially with my nurse background, and of course, since I do energy medicine, you can tell kind of both worlds there, but
Yeah,
I love that it's individualized. I'm not going to have 8 clients come in and every session be cookie cutter.
right.
Whereas with, we mass produce medicines, and medicines are great for certain purposes and for certain amounts of time and all of that. But when we look at it in a whole picture of, okay, 8 million people will take this same pill and have this same result because the pharmacy said that.
Right.
Well, so our bodies are all different, right? We
Mm-hmm.
all come from different places. We all have different wounds. We all have different life experiences.
Yep.
And the beauty of coming at it this way is you're not just suppressing the issue that they have. You're not just muzzling the problem. You're actually starting to address and break down the barriers that are going on within this problem. And you're
Mm-hmm.
creating a safe space on top of it.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah. And Ayurveda goes one step further. Ayurveda says we become our environment. So the micro becomes the macro influences the micro. And so if you look at Mother Nature, and she is the most powerful being on the planet, she is the planet, and she is able to uh, live in a very resilient, harmonious cycle over and through seasons, every season, and continue to sustain that health of her health. And so, if we want that same resilience, that same sustainable health, and to be in the most optimal, healthy way that we can be, mirroring the natural circadian rhythms of Mother Nature is going to give us health, much more harmonious health, and prevent dis-ease. Because when we are at ease, it is the opposite of dis-ease. And so bringing in more ease in your environment. So if you think of we are becoming our environment, if your environment is cold and wet and windy and uncomfortable, your inner environment, your internal landscape will be the same. And so in Ayurveda, we have this principle, the opposites often bring balance. And so bringing in something a little more heating, for example, a little more dry if it's wet. So we bring in the opposite quality, and oftentimes it will bring our bodies back to a state of balance. And so it's constantly making these decisions that contribute to the fabric of our well-being versus depleting it. And it's in every moment to moment awareness. It's noticing how this food, this relationship, this email, this screen time, this job, this environment, this place I live, how does it contribute to the fabric of my well-being, or does it deplete it? And to do more of the things that contribute than the things that deplete it. Because if we're just constantly depleting our well-being, and we're giving away our energy, and we're drying out our waters, then we have nothing left. The nourishment, we're malnourished. And Ayurveda is all about nourishing your body, your mind, your energy, in order for you to have a much more sustainable life. And so this is like aging well, having increasing longevity, having a good quality life for longer versus, feeling depleted in your 50s and 60s, and then and then suffering for the rest of your life. And so there's always a way to course correct, and an opportunity to course correct. And Ayurveda offers you that opportunity, whether it's through food, whether it's through a practice, whether through self-care practice, whatever it is. And I like to give my clients very few. It's not about I'm going to do all of this, and then I'm going to be well, and I'm going to age. Yeah, and I'm going to reverse my aging.
Right.
It's not like that. It's
in 5 seconds. And
right. It's very little by little. And it's not a magic pill. It's a practice. And we must do that self-care practice every single day. And over time, it adds up, and we become a much more resilient, nourished, hydrated version of ourselves.
Wow. Which goes back to having learning to trust yourself, learning to trust the messages that you receive, learning to trust your intuition, your guidance, your internal compass, really, really honoring what you're getting instead of talking yourself out of it. And what's interesting is by doing that, automatically your vibration and frequency rises, therefore automatically magnetizing what is best for you and for the greater good as well. Like,
absolutely.
What a freaking amazing, like logically, you look at it as like, well, duh, we just need to do this, this, and this, and then we'll be that. But so much of it is practice. I love that you said that, just really practice and continued practice, and not being like, well, forget it. Like, I messed up, for 2 hours earlier, or I messed up yesterday, I'm not going to do it anymore. But the practice, just continuing.
And to mess it up and and being okay with that, because we will, you just said talking yourself out of it. That is part of what Ayurveda, we call it, it's crimes against wisdom. So we make these decisions, and we know that they're not good for us, and we continue to do it. That is a crime against wisdom. And so that is human nature. So we challenge ourselves. We like that challenge, we take a risk, and that's part of being human. And like I said earlier, it's like I wrote about all the, I took risks and I made mistakes, and it was like messy, and allowing ourselves to fail, allowing ourselves to be messy, allowing ourselves to make those crimes against wisdom, and then learn from it, and then start to do less crimes against wisdom so that we can start to, our body can start, it'll be resilient, it'll start to heal, it'll start to give you answers and that you're looking for. And over time, that's what, we can, because it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay this yesterday, yep, okay, let's try again, and it is definitely an intentional action that you must take. But when you do it for why my program is 30 days, is when you're doing something for 30 days, every day for 30 days, your body begins to adjust to that and crave it. So when it's not there, it will want it. So, for example, hot water first thing in the morning. When you drink hot water first thing in the morning, it's like your organs, your internal organs are taking a warm bath. They start to open up, they absorb the water better. It's instead of like you think of versus a cold shower, ice cold drink or ice cold whatever it is, iced coffee, all the things that we do in the mornings. It's everything's contracting. Your organs shut down, your organs kind of it's too cold because our internal temperature, 97.8, is a very warm temperature. Is it 97.8? 98.7?
98.6.
98.6. Okay, thank you.
All good.
I'm like Fahrenheit. I have to
no, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh no, what are you? Celsius? Yeah, that's a lot of math.
And so really trying to give our body the ease that it seeks versus making it work harder, making it have to adjust and readjust, spend more energy, more fuel, more fluid to work harder to readjust, to recognize the foods that we're eating, to absorb the water that we're thinking that we're giving it. That's why people come to me dehydrated and exhausted, because we're not actually absorbing the water that we're drinking. And so hot water first thing in the morning, if we did that for 30 days, your body will crave it. And then when you go back to that iced water or that iced coffee, then you'll really notice it and your body will react, and it will always have a reaction.
Wow. Can you tell me what the 21-day Unbound thing is all about?
On my website?
Yeah. 21-day living Unbound experience?
Yeah, so it's a 30-day. Yeah.
I said 21 days.
That's a great question. I'll look into it.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll cut that and then okay. How would someone sign up for the 30-day experience?
So you can go to my website. It is serenaaurora.com. Aurora is spelled ARORA, no U, /living unbound. And so this is a hybrid online and in-person course and retreat where we do the first 3 modules online. The next 3 modules are in person in Costa Rica at the retreat center, where we'll cook together and we'll move together and we'll feel alive together. And then the last 2 modules are in community back when you get home, and you can stay in the community afterwards. And you get the support, the accountability, and the hand-holding that I will be with you along the way. And so it really becomes this sustainable health, optimal health, and this experience that it's not just a flash in the pan experience. It's really like, here's the embodied experience of what your life could look like, of how your health could be. Wow. And after a month, you really see a lot of really transformation.
What are some types of, or even one type of healing that you have been able to witness in this process of leading these women through? Are there any things that, that jumps out as far as?
So many. Oh, wow. There is one in particular that really jumps out. She had she felt very dehydrated. Like I said, dried out. Her libido was low. She's in her early 40s, just exhausted, not very fulfilled in her marriage, in her career, in her life, all of the things. And when you're exhausted and you're not fulfilled,
Mm-hmm.
that's a sign. There is something that is missing. And so, how do you fill yourself back up? How do you resource yourself? And so, we were in retreat for 5 days. I we did ceremony together, we did movement together, we had beautifully enriching conversations. We ate incredible food. The menu I've curated with Ayurvedic food combining. Talk about increasing libido and this beautiful essence of vitality that in Ayurveda we call it ojas, OJ. And it's one of the modules where we really increase our vitality, our immunity, our fluidity, our femininity. And it helps us feel more alive. It helps us feel more juicy, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And by the end of that retreat, she changed so many things in her life. She couldn't even believe it. She phoned me. She was like, "I am feeling so juicy. I am." She actually left her marriage. She changed her career. She is like doing all the things, the creative work that she was putting on the side. She
Yeah.
dove back in. It's filling herself up. She looks incredible. She's glowing. And yeah, I mean, I there's so many. She's a testament for sure to the work.
Isn't that beautiful that you can literally see physical changes take place
Absolutely.
on people?
Yeah, it's possible. You
It
know,
is magical. It's beautiful. And it's not really magical. It's what our body's been asking for, right? To return,
yeah, it's just a
you know?
matter of listening and having the tools and the right medicine for you to be able to give your body what it's asking for.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, two quick pop questions. What would you say is your all-time favorite Ayurvedic practice?
Ooh. I'm going to say the hot water. Hot water first thing in the morning. It has been a staple for me. I do not go without. If I'm traveling, I make sure I have it in like in my water bottle, my stainless steel water bottle. I have hot water on the plane, absolutely, because the opposites bring balance. Um, and in hotel rooms, I'll make sure I get a thermos of hot water the night before, so I have it first thing in the morning. I would also say neti pot. So I know some people are not familiar with it or maybe are not comfortable with saline solution through the nasal passages. But
Mm-hmm.
I really find that that has been the one thing that I know that when I go without, I fall sick or I get some kind of congestion or,
Mm-hmm.
I really notice that because we're full of mucus and we want
Mm-hmm.
mucus, but we don't want
Right.
it to be stagnant. We don't want it to be um, a, a bed for virus and
Sure.
bacteria. And so moving that out, clearing the passages and especially the sinus passages, allowing what we're ingesting through our nose, through our sinuses, this all goes into our brains, So when we're congested, we cannot think clearly, we cannot make good decisions.
Yeah.
And so the congestion, I often, clients will come to me, even when we're on the plane or, I'm traveling, I'm in airports or I'm talking or I'm on a subway or wherever it is,
Sure.
you often hear people like sniffing or
Right.
coughing or clearing their
Mm-hmm.
throats. And, you know, it's their body's way of trying to get rid of what they've ingested. And so if we can help our body do that every morning, clear the nasal passage, just put the warm saline solution through your up one nostril and out the other, and then up the other nostril and out the other. And with that as a preventative, it's a beautiful way to stay clear, to stay regulated, to stay calm, and to be disease, to prevent disease. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Other question. Top 3 books of all time that have helped
Wow.
you along your pathway. They could be any type of book. It could be a book that allowed you to get lost in it. It could be a book that helped on your entrepreneur journey, or anything along those lines.
Ooh, this is a great question. 3. Oh my goodness. Well, one that just sticks out because I did a comparison with my book is Crying in H Mart. And I just talked about it earlier. So it's called Crying in H Mart. And it was a very vulnerable memoir as well. She spoke about growing up. She was Korean, American Korean. And her mother was Korean, and she ended up having cancer, and walking that journey with her. And it was through food, through Korean food. And to me, I think of that as food as medicine, and Ayurveda, that's the approach. That's the approach that we have at the retreat center. It's when there's food and we can use it as medicine, and we can heal all the emotional baggage that comes with it, because food can be poison as well, and it can be medicine. So it's like, why not use this food as medicine? And so, yeah, that's one of the books. Another book, and I guess it's along the same theme, actually. There's so many.
No, I know.
We Were Dreamers. There's one, We Were Dreamers, Simu Liu. And I just really enjoyed, I listened to the audiobook actually, and it was just very powerful for me to realize that anything is possible. It does, and to break that conditioning to everything we've talked about in the podcast today. And then I'm going to say Unbound is the last one.
Yes. I think that's incredible.
Yeah,
It's so incredible.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel to me, yes, it's my story and it's my life. And I really love the idea that it's all of our stories. And so to me, it's like, I didn't write it just for me. I absolutely didn't write the book for me. I wrote the book for the next generation. I don't have kids of my own, so for my niece, for my stepdaughter, for the young generation of girls and young women that are navigating life now through womanhood and through life itself, and also for the humanness in us that has been lost in some way, and that it could be all of our stories, and that I love having the conversations now, and I may not see the repercussions or the results of these conversations. It might be for my next lifetime, or it might be for the next generations, and that I may never see. It's the giving tree. I feel like that Unbound, it will live forever, and it will have this, it'll be the shade giving tree for, the people, the beings that I may never, ever know.
Wow. I love that so much. Serena, thank you so much. This conversation has been, wow, such a beautiful reminder that healing isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering who we've always been. I know so many women that are listening right now are feeling seen. They feel understood. They feel inspired. They feel like there's hope. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom so openly. In today's conversation, I know it spoke to your heart. Please share it. I encourage you to connect with Serena. You can visit her website at www.serenaaurora.com. You can follow her on Instagram at Serena_Aurora. I believe, is that correct, Serena? Okay. Be sure to grab her beautiful memoir, Unbound, An Immigrant Daughter's Journey of Reckoning, Unraveling Shame, and Reclaiming Her Worth. And remember, she does offer personalized one-on-one Ayurvedic health consultations. She has the Living Unbound journey. She has transformational Costa Rica retreats, which I think kind of go along with the journey. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's part of it. Mm-hmm.
And then there's a free resource called Ayurveda ABCs.
Yeah.
We'll put all of the links in the show notes. And to everyone listening, thank you just so much for spending this sacred time with us. You know, these moments of humanness and these moments of vulnerability are so important. So I just want you to know that your voice matters, your healing matters, and your story matters as well. You were never meant to walk this path alone. And I hope you are feeling the sense of community that I try to bring each and every week. Until next time, have a great day and keep shining your light. Bye-bye, guys. Hi, before you go, hey, I just want to say thank you again. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you for sharing this space with me today. And I hope that you can feel the sense of community. Every time you listen to one of these episodes, you're in community with not only me, but everybody else that's listening too. And in that beautiful frequency that's created, we get to have our hearts infused with the love and peace and the hope that we have for each other. So thank you so much for that. So as you move back into your day, I invite you to take a moment, just soften your shoulders, breathe into your heart, and notice what shifted for you in this conversation. How do you feel? I hope amazing. And if this episode resonated, please follow the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Take a minute to leave a review. Your words help this healing ripple reach other beautiful souls who are quietly longing for support, remembrance, and community. And stay connected. You can visit my website, angelreikijourney.com. You can book an Angel Reiki session there. You can see some of the other events that we have going on. And if you scroll to the bottom, sign up for the newsletter where I share soulful reflections, upcoming offers, and gentle invitations to reconnect with yourself. You can also find me on Instagram at Angel Reiki Journey for inspiration. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm over there too. And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to carry all this alone. You are deeply supported. You are divinely guided, and you are worthy of ease and joy and magnetizing moments in your life. And I'm so excited for that. Until we meet again, take care of your beautiful heart and know that it's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to offer self-love to yourself. And it's okay to receive the love and abundance this universe wants to give you. So I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.